music? Good. Good, okay. Start the meeting, all right. Thank you. Right, I would like to call tonight School Board of Directors to order. I'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Absolutely. Mrs. Fiji.
Here.
Mrs. Ginrick.
Here.
Mrs. Walker.
Here.
Mr. Bushy. Dr. Creighton.
Here.
Mr. Gerhard. Here. Mr. Linder. Mr. Sensiting.
Here.
Mr. Clare.
Here.
8 members present.
Thank you. The May 19th, 2025 school board meeting is open to the public and is also being streamed virtually. I'd like to just let everybody be aware that an executive session was held on May 19th, 2025 to discuss safety and personnel matters. I need to have a motion for approval of the agenda.
Moved.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Well, now we need a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Recognition presentation. Learners of the month.
Right, thank you, Mr. Clare. We're going a little out of order tonight because we have one of our learners that is in a concert this evening. So first up, from our middle school, Carson Peters, grade 5, represented by Miss Palmer.
So I am Carson's school counselor, her 5th grade school counselor. I collected information from all of her teachers and I had to condense it because I know I only have a few minutes. Carson Peters had deservedly nominated as Learner of the Month, and it's easy to see why. Her kind nature shines through in her interactions with everyone, and she's always the first to offer a helpful hand to classmates. Carson's attentive presence in class ensures she grasps concepts quickly, which she then reinforces through her consistently hardworking approach to her studies. She always gives her best effort and goes above and beyond by helping others without being asked. Her strong work ethic shines in everything she does, whether it's tackling a tough writing assignment or lending a hand without being asked. Carson takes her work seriously, but also has a good sense of humor. Her eagerness to learn is contagious and helps create a positive classroom learning environment. She is one of the most responsible students we've had the joy of knowing. We can always count on her to follow through and set an example for others. Beyond her academic dedication, Carson displays a remarkable maturity and maintains a positive attitude that uplifts those around her, making her a truly exceptional learner. One example of her thoughtfulness is how she sets out art folders for classmates who may need a little extra support. This shows her genuine care for others and observant eye to notice how she can make the world a better place with small gestures. She brings a positive attitude to school every day, lifting the spirits of those around her. One of my favorite things about Carson is how much she loves to help with classroom jobs, especially hanging up the stars outside of a teacher's classroom. Carson, thank you for being such a bright light in our class. You truly make a difference. Carson makes a positive impact wherever she goes, and there's no doubt she's going to do amazing things. Thank you.
All right. right, next up from Barron Elementary, Keegan Snyder, grade 4, presented by Mrs. Kreider and Mrs. Boyle.
I am Pam Boyle, Egan's reading specialist.
And I'm Christy Kreider, the special education teacher.
It is with great pride that we recognize Keegan Snyder as Barron Elementary's Learner of the Month. Keegan is a motivated and enthusiastic fourth grader who exemplifies what it means to be a dedicated learner. Since arriving at Barron Elementary in second grade, Keegan has made tremendous academic and personal growth. His journey is a powerful example of how hard work, perseverance, and a positive mindset can lead to remarkable progress. Keegan approaches each day with curiosity and a willingness to learn. He is engaged in his lessons, actively participates in class, and always puts forth his best effort. His teachers describe him as a well-rounded learner who is respectful, focused, and eager to improve. Whether working independently or in a group, Keegan demonstrates leadership and a strong sense of responsibility.
Keegan is more than just a great learner. He is a difference maker. His positive attitude, kindness towards others, and commitment to doing the right thing set a powerful example for his peers. He contributes meaningfully to the classroom community and helps create an environment where others can thrive as well. Outside the classroom, Keegan continues to shine. He plays baseball, where he builds teamwork and sportsmanship, and he is also an active member of the Young Marines program, showing a commitment to service, discipline, and community values. Keegan is a role model and a source of pride for our school community. We are thrilled to honor him as the Learner of the Month and celebrate the outstanding growth, character, and impact he brings to Barron Elementary each day.
And next we have from Doe Run Elementary, Kiara Laredo, grade 4, Mrs. Baird.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Baird, and I'm Kiara's special education teacher. Creative, passionate, kind, hardworking, positive are a few words to describe Kiara. I first met Kiara last spring during her tour at Doe Run. She had a big smile on her face and was very outgoing. If you pass Kiara in the hallway tomorrow, you will be greeted with that same smile and outgoing personality. Every day, Kiara comes to my room for a snack. Many of those times, I have to be on my toes for her arrival due to her goal of scaring me. She has been successful a few times. About an hour later, Kiara and I have a daily break together. During this time, we chat, create virtual calming rooms, or she keeps me educated on the newest Smiling Critters, Dandy's World, or a show that everyone is talking about. Like the first day that I met her, she always greets me with a smile on her face and a positive attitude during her break. She doesn't know, but some days, those 10 minutes with her is the best part of my day. We usually end our break with her planning our agenda for the next day or asking me a question that, again, keeps me on my toes. Kiara asked me last week, what power would I want? Most of us would respond with flying, being invisible, or super speed, not Kiara. She responded with, I would want to duplicate myself so that everybody would have a friend in the world. That just shows what kind-hearted she is. She has made such tremendous progress during her time at Doe Run, to making good choices with her words, mastering goals, working hard in the classroom, creating posters to spread book bag and lunchbox safety awareness, and much more. I'm very proud of the young learner and lady she is becoming. Thank you.
Now on to the high school. We have Maria Soa, grade 10, presented by Senor Campbell.
Good evening. And I have to tell you that when we first got word from Dr. Weitzel that it was our turn to select a student, it was unanimous and very quick that we made this decision. So it's my distinct pleasure to recognize an exceptional world language student, Maria, for her outstanding achievement in Spanish. Maria is a passionate, conscientious, and engaged learner. From the very beginning of Spanish 1, She has demonstrated a deep commitment to learning the language and understanding its cultures. I had the privilege of teaching her in Spanish 2, where I got to see those firsthand. And now she is thriving in Spanish 3. In class, Maria is focused, curious, and thoughtful. She listens and reads with intention, asks insightful questions, and applies new learning confidently in her speaking and writing. She embraces Spanish immersion in the classroom and prefers that her teachers not use English. So we apologize for this tonight. She truly welcomes challenges and sees them as opportunities grow. Her current teacher describes her as diligent, positive, and always willing to help others. She makes up missed work proactively, participates actively, and fosters a welcoming, enthusiastic classroom environment. Outside the classroom, Marie is an active participant in her Spanish club and is leading a group in this year's World Cultures Day event as a sophomore. And she just accepted the nomination of vice president, which will lead her to president of our club as well. Maria is a model student, and we are thrilled that she will continue her studies next year in AP Spanish Language and Culture. We are proud to honor her tonight for her dedication, leadership, and love of learning. Felicidades.
All right, and Mr. Gerhart, you'll be pleased to hear that this month we have 2 CTC honorees. First from Willow Street CTC, Cameron Eshelman, grade 12, Dr. Weitzel.
Good evening. This is a custom here for every month. We have someone from the CTC, which is great. One, as Dr. Ack said, we have 2 individuals. So we have Cameron Eshelman. So he's the Lions Club CTC Student of the Month for April. He's enrolled in our diesel technology program at Willow Street. Obviously, he loves the hands-on portions of the program, and he plans on continuing onto the workforce. He is currently working at Souder Eggs, where he's a diesel mechanic, and so he's going to go there after or continue there after graduation. Congratulations to Cameron. And then our second award student of the month is Kaylee Doherty. Kaylee is in the Advanced Health Careers Program at the Mount Joy CTC. And again, she loves the hands-on aspect. She's been really involved with that and working with Nurse O at the high school, but then in continuing that at the CTC. She's planning on taking a little bit of a gap here just to continue working and getting some experience. Currently, she works at Landis Homes, but has really enjoyed her time at the CTC, and she's even taken on a leadership role. At the CTC, they have their Skills USA competition, so they look for student leaders. This thing's like radically crazy. She has a leadership role there that they really appreciate and wanted to recognize her. But in her free time, she enjoys spending time with friends, family, and hiking and shopping. So all things we can enjoy. So congratulations to Kaylee.
For all you honorees, tonight, the learners, I'll give a nice applause to your parents who helped through all this. So congratulations and help parents. You may be excused now, unless you want to sit through the whole meeting, and some of these have to stay, right? So the ones that can leave, may certainly leave. We have nobody who signed up for comment tonight, so we'll go right on to need a personnel motion from 7A through D.
Moved.
Moved. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
We have some of our new teachers here to introduce themselves.
All right, well, our 3 new teachers that we just approved. Just come up and
Introduce yourself.
introduce yourself. I know that.
Carter Anstein, High School English Language Arts.
Carrie Hess, Middle School Learning Support. My name is Kaina Swanson, and I'm high school Spanish.
And Yana, where'd you graduate from?
Yes, I graduated from Manheim Central, so let me just say, as a graduate, it is an absolute honor to be back in the department, in the district. And it's a dream come true to be able to be part of the district where I fell in love with the language, and the difference that my Spanish teachers made for me is what inspired me to be a Spanish teacher. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. And we have a surprise for you. All three of you may leave now if you want. Or you may stay. Okay, we originally was gonna go introduce them first, but I'm thinking, gee, we introduced them before they're approved. That's why I approved them first. All right, we go, I think we handle from 7E through K.
I make a
Motion. Anybody else? Oh, second. Second. Here. Anybody have any comments? If not, all in favor, aye. And nay. It is, E through K is approved. All right, superintendent's report.
Yeah, before we get into my first part of the report, I do want to share with everyone that I had the chance to, the class of 1970 had their reunion on Saturday at the high school. So we got to give them a tour and show them all that we have at our new high school. Over 130 of them attended and went on the tour. So it was an exciting time. And we're appreciative of the class of 1970's donation to our backpack program. They donated money as a class to our backpack program that feeds families in need on weekends. So I wanted to thank them publicly for that. So this is what Mr. Clare was so excited about earlier. Now we have the Barron and middle school student representatives sharing their art monsters.
I'm sorry, ladies. And
You were excited.
excited.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to share a special project that has brought so much joy to our school community. My name is Julie Hipschman, and I am one of the middle school art teachers here in the district. And this year we piloted a project that we lovingly called Little Monsters. The idea began with just a simple conversation, and it grew into this fabulous collaborative opportunity. The concept was inspired by connections by pairing a kindergartner along with a middle school learner's creativity. And we brought these little drawings that the kindergartners brought to us to life by turning them into a 3D soft sculpture. The project would not have been possible without the partnership of Mrs. G, one of our elementary art teachers. Her enthusiasm and support and dedication made this collaboration not only possible, but truly joyful from start to finish. So I'd like to give Sarah a chance to talk as well.
I am Sarah Gassu. I'm the elementary school art teacher at Barron, and this is Bristol. Being able to work with Julie and her middle schoolers was a joy. My kindergarten students drew their monsters in August when we first came together and asked every art class when they were going to get their plushies. And just seeing them together with the middle schoolers and having them in their hands was such a special experience. Like, if you were there, I know Dr. Flannery came, there were a few other people there. It really was a magical moment, and it was such a great way to see a connection between the two buildings and kind of bring our district together.
So in the end, we made about 50 little monsters, each complete with their own birth certificate. And to then give the 7th or 8th graders something tangible because they were willing to give their project away. A pin was made for each of the 7th and 8th graders that represented the sculpture that they made. I could not have done this without the help of two really special 8th graders. I have Eden Schwartz with me today, and I have Jessa Hershey, and they're going to talk a little bit about their experience with doing our little monsters. So this is Jessa.
Hi, I'm Jessa, and I've been helping with the Little Monsters project since the beginning. I contributed by making more than one monster. I really enjoyed sewing and adding all the little details that helped make each monster special and unique. I also helped make sure each monster had a birth certificate and was placed in the correct bag. One of my favorite parts was seeing how excited everyone got when the monsters were finished, especially knowing that we were making something for someone else to enjoy. It was a lot of work behind the scenes, keeping track of drawings, matching colors, and helping other students figure out their pieces. But it was totally worth it. I've never done a project like this before, and I love how it combined creativity with kindness. It felt really good to be a part of something bigger than just a regular art project. Hi. Hi, my name is Eden. One of my main roles in the Little Monster Project was helping to organize everything, making sure we matched each kindergarten learner with the correct middle school artist, as well as double checking the kindergarten teacher and the monster name. We worked hard to help Miss Hipschman get everything ready for distribution, especially leading up to our visit to Barron Elementary at the beginning of April. That day was amazing. Seeing the kindergartners meet their monsters for the first time made all the organizing totally worth it. I also loved helping to make the pins that we gifted to the middle school artists. I think it was a nice way to say thank you for their hard work and to give them a tangible memory of the day.
And if you go through the PowerPoint, we do have a couple other pictures of the monsters. And Bristol, do you want to show everybody? Do you want to show them?
Your monster's name.
They did name them all. We had some great names like George, Little George.
Pika, Pika.
Pika Pika.
It's amazing. Awesome. Nice.
Ooh.
So that was our pilot. It went well, and we're going to expand it for next year. So for next school year, we're going to include the kindergartners from Doe Run as well. So they will also have the same experience.
Which is a big feat. It's going from 50 to 220 probably. So we're ready to hit the ground running. Yeah, we're ready. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're warning to the public, more monsters are coming.
More monsters are coming.
And you don't have to feel obligated to stay if.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think she'd like to stay though.
She could be in charge.
Shower.
All right, next part, K through 12 summer audit. Just to let everyone know, now that our buildings are done, our leadership team is going to take the opportunity this summer to review our schedules and staffing to make sure that we're using everyone in capacity and being as efficient as possible moving into next school year. So I just wanted to say that and share that publicly. And now, Mr. Howitt, final budget report, please.
Okay, so the stuff we're doing tonight, and we did do a presentation 2 weeks ago, so this is going to be a very abbreviated presentation just to update some numbers. The step we're taking tonight is to approve a proposed final budget. And that's not our final budget. What that is that's stating our intention to approve this budget in its current form. And we advertise that, and then we also display it for 30 days, and then in the June meeting, we'll approve it. So just go through some of the numbers here that have changed. If you recall, a couple weeks ago, I said when I got some more numbers in, we might get back to break even. And it looks like we are going to get back to break even. We're at least a little over, a little under. So we'll know a lot more when the May numbers load in. We'll be able to laser in on a little bit. But one of the things I just want to talk about is, if you'll recall, we made some changes to the food service operation where we got on the National School Lunch Program, and then we increased the prices just a little bit. We are close to, I think, breaking even in the food service department, which is the first time in the last 10 years, I think we've broken even there. So that's a good thing. We had a couple $100,000 in there budgeted to bridge the gap there. Whatever the food service department loses or
whatever their loss is, the general fund subsidizes it, so we generally budget some money in there. We're not gonna need that, and that was the major thing in turning that number a little bit. Also, labor might come in a little bit lower than we've been projecting in previous projections. And that could be any number of reasons. We have extra pay that we budget in there. We have positions that people have left that aren't filled. So they were budgeted, but perhaps not used at this point. Looking at the fund balance analysis, if you look here, there's the 104,967 projected for this year. And then right now, we're currently sitting just a little bit above $1 million deficit with a 3% increase baked in there. Budget history, here's the details. And you'll notice at your desk, you had this budget summary, which is the proposed budget in detail. So this is just a summary of that. And if you look here, total expenditures, 74,111,465 with revenue of 73,098,365. This is our standard look at various millage rate increases. Essentially, every percentage is a little over $400,000 of revenue. So here in this example, if you went from 3 to 2.5, you'd be talking about roughly $200,000 of revenue that we would forego by going to 2.5. If we would go up to 1, we'd make an extra, or up to 4, we'd make an extra $400,000. Quarter point is 100,000 and so on. So little easy way to break it down there with the rate. Looking at just the percentage of our revenue sources, federal sources have gone down a lot since the ESSER funds aren't in there anymore. It's basically title funds and medical access funds that we get. State sources has gone above 30%. Usually that's in the 27 to 28% range. It's gone above 30%. And then local sources, 68.21%. The proposed budget, this is the breakdown of the expenditures by object, and you'll see just under 62% is our salary and benefits, the large piece of our budget. And then the $100 Barron bill here, just looking at kind of what we used it for. Instructional was 56.7% of the budget. You can see over here, debt service 11.6%, transportation a little over 6%, so on. Effective millage increase on the taxpayers, and this is a kind of a multi-slide look. The 199,000 is the median homestead assessed value, and the 215 is the average assessed value on the homestead. And you can see at the average assessed value of 215,000, that'd be $108 gross increase. And on the median of 199 at 3%, we'd be looking at $100. But this year, the amount that the state provided us for homestead farmstead reduction has gone up. And that has created an additional $27, a little over $27 of additional savings to our taxpayers. And so what does that look like at the end of the tax bill process? If you look here, 24-25 versus 25-26, you'll see that the change for an average assessed home is $108 before the homestead farmstead, but the additional $27.07 in there, the net tax bill is only going up by $81.08 for a 3% increase, or a net of 2.37%. So that homestead farmstead acts to reduce the amount that each individual homeowner would have to pay. This is a look again of our Act 1, our tax millage increase versus the Pennsylvania Act 1 index. And you can see that more times than not, we've been under the Act 1 index. And the Act 1 index is calculated using various wage data. And what it's supposed to indicate is that based on, that's the amount that wages are roughly going up. It's an average of two pieces of wage data from the state. But you can see more times than not, we've gone under. We've never exceeded our Act 1 index. In spite of all the construction projects and everything we've done, we've never gone above. And in fact, during that time, if you can see where the building construction started right here, we've gone zero twice since we started that process. So I think it'd be tough to find many districts that have done that. And again, I don't have a slide in here, but I would point out that we have the 4th lowest millage rate in the county. So I think we provide pretty good value. The green line down here is the assessed value. You can see everything to the right of the red line is projected. The Act 1 index is projected to decline over the Independent Fiscal Office does that measurement and that projection. That's projected to settle in around 3%. It will probably go lower than that. As you can see down here, it's gone down into the high 1s and the low 2s in the past. And then assessed value, I do expect a spike in assessed value. I'm hoping it comes next year. And that's going to be all these apartment buildings and some of the commercial warehouses that you see going there. We're hoping that could generate in excess of $1 million moving forward of recurring revenue. Although that's not going to come in at one shot, it will probably phase in over a period of a few years.
Brian, is that a percentage or is that a dollar value, the assessed value?
That's a percentage increase. So the reason why I like to look at it as a percentage is if you kind of before you would raise any millage, if assessed value went up 2%, you've effectively gotten a 2% increase in your local real estate tax revenue without even touching the millage rate. And so we like to look at the combination of that assessed value growth plus the millage rate increase would be the total increase to the local real estate tax base. So what's next? We're going to continue to refine the current year projections. As we get a new piece of information like the food service information, we'll modify the current year projection plus next year's projection. We'll adjust budget lines if needed. I know still waiting for final commercial insurance numbers, and there's some other numbers out there that are still flying around. I don't expect them to have a big impact on the budget, but there are some numbers that need firmed up a little bit before the June meeting. And then in the June meeting, we'll ask the board to consider final budget approval. Again, tonight, this is just approving the proposed final, which is basically an intent to approve the final budget. It does not lock the tax rate in tonight. Only the June meeting locks the tax rate in, do the final budget approval. Any questions?
I have one. You have in there 3%. Would you like to go less than 3%? We can put that in for tonight. We don't have to wait to June.
You do not have to wait to June. If you'd like to consider a lower number tonight, it's certainly the board's prerogative.
So if we could go to 5 to 7 tonight, and in June, if something else happens, it can be changed again.
It can be, I would not recommend you change that number up,
No.
but it can be lowered as well. Yeah.
Anybody have any thoughts on, is everybody happy with the 3%?
I'd like to see 2.5.
I also would like to see 2.5.
We went 2.75 and then the option to drop it to 2.5.
Pardon me?
What if we went with 2.75 with the option to drop it to 2.5 the next meeting?
Along with that, as long as we don't go 3 and higher. 2.75.
We'll take that motion in general action.
Just want to make sure we don't have any other discussions with anybody else. Is everybody okay with that?
I mean to change it up there. Does everybody else
No,
has?
no, no.
That's good.
I actually was like 2.5 what I wanted, and I would go up to 2.75. That's what
That's why I went 2.5, but I was going to go 2.75.
ladies.
I think since we have the option to lower it, I'm good going a little bit higher.
Yeah. Alrighty.
We have the option of raising it too, but it just looks bad.
Correct.
Yeah. You know, the other
I don't
thing.
like that.
The other thing is, if you remember the last assessment, people got hit hard. There were houses in Manheim that went from, well, they went up to 250, 300,000. Ryan can attest to that here.
Yeah, Manheim Borough, during that reassessment, which was 17-18, Manheim Borough. So a reassessment, which is coming up, and I could address that quickly, it's revenue neutral for the school district. So whatever the percentage of the reassessment is, let's just say homes go up 15 to 20%. That is our current tax base, not including new homes. Then we have to lower our millage rate 15 to 20% so that it's revenue neutral. However, it may not be revenue neutral for an individual taxpayer. So Raffo, Penn, and Manheim Borough all kind of fared out a little bit different, and the homes in the borough did get raised pretty heavily during that reassessment. So I think because they've now committed to doing that every 10 years, I think the changes in that reassessment before, I think, was 13 years.
18.
Or something. It was way beyond the 10. So now that they're on a 10-year cycle, it should be less of an adjustment, hopefully. We'll see, though.
So we need to keep that in the back of our minds, because the people are gonna get hit possibly hard twice. So, all right, we'll do that in later. Mr. Howard, do you have anything else? You're done?
Hey, distribution of policies 249, 311, 317, 320, and 718 for your first reading. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Get back to my papers. Dr. Flannery.
Yep, one moment. I have three things in my report tonight, but I'll start with what's printed in the agenda, which is about the CLEAR programming. So this is something that is on the agenda for tonight for approval. I believe it's section item F, if I remember correctly. But CLEAR is an online investigation software that will allow us to determine if there's evidence that a family is no longer living in the district. Specifically, what we're looking to do is be able to identify cyber students that we think should not be paying for, and notify them that we are no longer responsible for their cyber school's tuitions. One of the hard things is, once they're a student in cyber, we don't have a great way to be able to track where they're living necessarily. So they could be living in a different area and we're still paying for their tuition. So Columbia School District is currently using this program. And in the first month of use, identified 9 families that were not in the district. 2 of them were even out of state. Elanco is also using the program, and on their first screening, they found 11 families. So these return rates would more than cover the cost of the program. The cost of the program is $13,500 approximately for 1 year. So one misplaced student would give us more than our money's worth back in that investment. An additional factor for your consideration is at least 2/3 of Lancaster County schools are in the process of purchasing this software. So if we don't get on board, we could be getting kids kicked back without a way to fight that on our own. So this would be a good way to make sure we're staying in line with the other schools to know that we're billing and charging appropriately, or our funds are going appropriately to cyber. So that's the first item I had on my report for this evening.
So I have a question. When you find that, you can immediately throw them out of our, like, is there a process you have to go through?
Yeah.
There's a process you have to go through. So if we suspect, if someone's flagged on the system, we'll have a letter or a notification that goes out
To them.
and it's their responsibility then to prove their residency. And if they don't, then they would come off of our books and we would notify whatever district. It's a little trickier out of state. the instances from the two districts that Dr. Flannery mentioned, the only way if someone moves out of state is to go after the family for tuition, which is a little bit challenging because the cybers already, like, we have to pay them incrementally. So the Garden Spot School District or the Elanco School District only discovered it this month and they paid all the bills. So the only way to go after the family that's out of state is to go after the family for tuition.
So now if it's someone that's still in state, but they've moved a year ago, can we get our money back for that?
We can bill the district where they're at now. And so there will be some internal Lancaster Lebanon swapping because someone could be using our cyber but living in Donegal. So that could happen too, which is why with 3/4 of the districts doing it, there will be some trading that'll be amicable, but you get one or two out of state or out of the county and you get your money back.
Why is this not being identified through like the measures that are already in place with like truancy and things like that? Is it because this, like if a student's in a cyber school, they don't have the same protocols as like what we do?
So
Or
if they are in a cyber school currently, the person that's tracking their attendance and doing all of those functions are the cyber schools themselves.
Right.
So if they could be attending and everything looks like it's normal, but maybe they've moved. Well, our intent's not to prevent them from getting that education. They should have it. Whatever that move is, that's the district that should be billing. So we just don't have a measure right now. Like if a person's renting and then they go rent somewhere else, well, we don't have a way to contact all of the landlords and say, are your renters the same as they were? So if they're moving, it's a little different. We have records of sale and things that we could look at, but it's not always that straightforward
so we're relying right now on the families to tell the district.
for the most part.
And they probably don't, half of them probably don't even know that they're supposed to.
Well, the cybers have no interest in reporting it. Well, they're billing us and we're paying them. So there's no accountability for them to report that, even if someone would change their address on the cyber, everything's digital. So all their mailings are digital, everything is.
I think if they would change their address, like through their cyber, I have no doubt that the cyber would take care of that. It's more about our families knowing or openly sharing their address changes.
Gotcha.
Have you went through this CLEAR program to see how it does?
There was a demonstration of the CLEAR program at the intermediate unit for all of the districts. We followed that up with a phone call just to see a little bit about what we're getting.
And the last superintendent's meeting is where they did a show of hands and over 3/4 are.
It's a great idea.
You said there was another one that tracks license plates.
That's an additional charge.
Yes, does that get more people or quicker? Not really.
I think we would like to see how this lesser expensive, like how it does, to see if we have to do that or not.
Yeah, they have different years of contracts for this, and we thought we would just try it for a year to see what we get. Before the 3-year contract was, I think, maybe discounted by 10% if I remember correctly, but we thought, let's just see what we get for this rate before we make a longer. Then as long as we get one student, we're ahead.
You get 5.
Yes.
The other part of that strategy is if some of the cyber reform comes through that is being put out there, there may be more accountability for the cybers to have to report, so we might not need it down the road. But for now, we feel like it's important.
And who would be monitoring or utilizing the program?
So we get I think we get 3 or 4 identified users. So we were thinking about registration, having access to that student registration here. You know, myself, Dr. Axe, and there was one other, we thought about a 4th person, but it would be a very central group of people, not trying to burden principals or anything with that information.
So you'll just get an email. This person suspected.
I think my understanding is they run batches at different times of the year. So they would be running a batch, they would be getting a list of names to be able to take action on. And then later, you're not going to check that every month, it doesn't make sense, but later in the cycle, there'd be another batch run. I think we get 3 batches a year.
Yeah, and the batch is all the cyber students. So it's all the cyber students and their addresses. It runs it flags the ones that it looks like aren't living where they're saying they're living, and then we send the notifications out from there.
But we're doing more than cyber students. Or are we just doing cyber
It's just
students?
the cyber.
There's an additional component of the program that uses additional layers of artificial intelligence, let's just say, or investigation software to be able to come up with something beyond that, which would be used for regular residents. Well, that's not what we're interested in at this time. We're really just looking for this cyber component. We have pretty good methods in place for people that live here to be able to figure out if they're not, how to report that. I'm sure there's a couple that could get through, but our main priority is to try to get some of those cyber dollars being charged to the districts that should be paying for them.
What are we currently doing to bring back students from cyber school that doesn't involve like this technology?
In terms of bringing them back in-house.
I mean, I hate to use the word monitoring, but how are we ensuring that the students that are in our district receiving services from cyber schools are still in our district? Are we doing anything right now? Or is that hard to monitor?
No, I think, well, what we're doing now is what we would be doing for any student, which is, if we report of a house sale or things like that. There's sometimes residents will call and say, I think so-and-so moved.
Oh.
All of those things are currently in our repertoire. We don't have a way beyond that to say such and such student who said they were living here. We're gonna do like a random residency check, for example, to ensure that they're still living there.
Yeah.
That can get pretty difficult.
Yeah. I think that, something that we all ask frequently when looking at enrollment in cyber schools and all of that is how are we continuing to get all of the good things that we're doing here out so that we can bring some of those students back? If they want to come back, obviously it's not right for every family, but are we still using those, when you guys were doing a great job at like reaching out to families?
So in terms of how we're trying to get cyber students back, I know that Mrs. Spazek and Dr. Nemeth went through and called families that were on cyber lists for a couple of years, trying to say like, hey, if you have an interest, that this is what we can do for you. Some of the feedback we've heard from families is that a lot of the cyber schools do often offer a live person for that in-person component, which we don't have the ability to do in our model. Some parents have had a negative experience in one way or another and, are not interested in coming back because of that. So we have made those efforts. We just haven't seen it resulted in a large rate of return. We do see people come back to us at times, but I would say it's less from our reach out and more from their renewed interest. I don't know, Dr. Nemeth, if you had anything to
I
add.
can say, because we've had some of our students who come in for certain things like the extracurriculars, whatever it might be. That's been a drawback, but it has been really difficult. It's like that when they've made up that decision to change over to charter, it's hard to pull them back because they have that live person on the charter end of it. So it makes it really difficult to say for trying to bring them back to our cyber program. That's been the reason we hear the most is that there's a person there live, but it's cyber.
Are we allowed to not let them play sports if they're not in our school or?
If they're
If they're on a cyber, doing cyber and playing football for us, are we allowed to say if you're not in Manheim school or Manheim, whatever, you can't play sports, or do we let them play sports?
they're able to participate
We can't take that away.
unless they don't live here.
It's a policy.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a state rule, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, some of the reform, if it goes through, could help us with this, but right now, we would like to do this for a year, just based on the results that other districts are having. And there's a lot of districts that are jumping on now, so they can use it over the summer to notify families over the summer, which is what we would intend on doing as well, so that it's work we can do in the summer rather than next school year right away.
That made me think of another question. Do you have to let families know that we have this technology and that we'll be utilizing it?
I mean, we don't have to, but I'm okay with saying it publicly because now then people might, if they catch wind of this, know that.
Yeah.
Change their address. Where they're supposed to be.
I wasn't sure if there were legally, if you had to notify or.
We just did.
No, I mean, I don't know what other districts did, but
Yeah.
our approach is always we're putting it out there, we're
Yeah.
looking at this. Yeah.
And I would also say that I don't want anyone to think that I feel like families are trying to be evasive either. I
Yeah.
think sometimes just people don't know. They don't know that, that if you move, that bill goes somewhere else and they think, well, I'm still getting the service. It's like, if you move from here to Pittsburgh and you were going here as a person, it's very obvious that you can't still physically go here. But if you have a device and you're still getting your piece, it might not be as clear to them that, hey, I'm in Pittsburgh, I need to do something different. So it could be an educational component as well. And like I said, this won't prevent anybody from keeping that choice that they want cyber. It would just get the bill going to the right place.
And if you think about how cyber is advertised as taxpayer funded or free, why would they think that moving would impact that? Like it's free, I mean, my kids can still log on and do so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's.
Yeah.
Labor the point.
And then I have two other updates that weren't on the agenda. The first one was just a shout out for the farmers market. So thanks to the student, staff and board members who volunteered this past Friday to make what we hope will be our first annual farmers market a great success. We were able to give away thousands of pounds of fresh produce with the generosity of Highmark and the Central PA Food Bank. The efforts of our team supported so many families from our community, and we're happy to say that the small amount of food that was left over, we worked out today with how it's helped that we were able to donate that to the Mannheim Food Bank to be able to give out today. So just a great night, and I know so many of you came and personally helped. I'm so appreciative, and thanks to everybody that was involved.
It was just over 8,000 pounds of produce given away
Nothing like
in no time.
4 tons of food. I think all that was left over was cauliflower, which I don't blame anybody for it not being their favorite.
There was a lot of cauliflower.
And then a couple large bags of potatoes, so we were able to give that to the food bank today.
It was awesome.
Do you think we could keep doing that? I don't necessarily think like during the carnival, but I just think that if there's another event going on, having that was really helpful.
That's what they suggested when we worked with them. This project started out west in Pittsburgh. And this is like the first time they're kind of moving it over this way. And they said that's how they found the most success, which is why we picked Carnival. So we would work to do something like that again, where it's a big exposure night that parents are already out and have it right there and they're not having to make an extra trip.
The only feedback I had from some community members was it was very close to like where,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
reflecting on it, maybe putting it farther down the street. That way, if you're picking up food and you have to leave, you can leave and then everyone else can go to
Was
the
it,
car.
I didn't
It
see it
was
myself. Was
fine.
it crowded?
It wasn't terrible. I'm just sharing what feedback.
I'm just trying to get the
Were you
function
there?
of it was.
Okay.
Were you there?
I was there.
We talked about signage where when people come up,
Yeah.
we could say farmer's market, elementary carnival, so that people would know, because Danielle ended up going to kind of the end of the row and saying, if you're coming to the farmer's market, you're going here, this is the carnival line. So we talked about somehow putting some signs up or something to indicate, because it was.
Everybody came to here first and then they're walking around with huge bags, trying, like, I can see that being like
Like a
little kids had huge bags of.
shopping cart.
It
And
was.
I was about halfway and I would tell, if you're going to the carnival, go down there, this is for the food bank, and that went fine until I fell off the curb backwards.
Well, I think it was awesome and a lot of positive feedback I got. I wasn't there the whole time, so it's probably, we must have missed each other.
Yeah, you guys just crossed.
Anyway,
There were enough, I mean,
I signed up for the last 2 hours. You probably signed up for the first.
so when it stormed, that was convenient.
Well, I was the guy that put
I'm just
everything in
teasing.
my truck and put it in the,
But it was great. And the thank you to the high school kids who helped.
Yes.
they were great.
That was awesome. It was very smooth and efficient.
When I went up to introduce myself, they said that the truck came at what, 1 o'clock?
It came early.
And there was nobody around, so they, I guess, called Dave Hahn and said, any way we can get people to unload the truck. And people from Highmark and that said, all of a sudden you see all these boys running out of the school and they got their truck unloaded in 15 minutes and went back in.
The kids that had weightlifting, I think, helped. And there's always a person behind the scenes keeping everything really smoothly running. And with Sarah Payne and I having a day off that day, Danielle Geisinger here really did a stand-up job in just keeping everything moving. So a personal thank you to her as
You
well.
did.
It went great.
And then my second note is just to get it in the minutes that we did have our annual safety report delivered at tonight's board executive session. We need that in the minutes just so that the state knows what we did, what we were supposed to do. So that is the purpose of that element of my report, and that.
Thank you. Going to the reports, Treasurer, Dr. Creighton.
Yeah, so tonight we have 3 sets of financial documents to approve. I have reviewed them. They're in order. I spoke with Brian this morning, Dr. Axe this morning on these statements. They were prepared with the best practices. Were there any questions from board members on any of the financial
The
documents?
only question I have is, do we know, is that is this the last bill for the approval of the outflow bill? Or do we expect any more invoices?
It is not. There's still some retainage left on that, so. Yeah, it's a small amount. One more bill.
Thank you.
So with that, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is that A, B, and C?
A, B, and C.
And do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Okay, any questions? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? And we can go on to committee reports. Mr. Linder is here. I understand there is no report. Academic committee report, Mrs. Walker. I understand you have some real goodies for us.
Yeah, we had a great meeting. Thank you to Dr. Nemeth and her curriculum team for all their hard work this past year. If you guys had a chance to look over the agenda, the minutes that were sent out, you saw all of the good things that are happening. Our biggest item is the ELA curriculum that needs to be replenished. As you know, ELA is all encompassing of all of our students in the district. So that is why we see the biggest request from them. So we also have tech ed curriculum being requested, business curriculum being requested. So all the total ask is 160,534.48. So let me just summarize this and then we can, do I need to make a motion for those? Okay, so let me summarize this first. And then also the approval of the Linkit, which is, it's like a data management system, which will replace some other things that they have. So Dr. Nemeth did a nice job of looking at what is being used and what is not being used so that we can kind of identify some savings there. So the remaining cost of that new system would be $685.25. So with that, I make a motion that we approve the total curriculum budget. Is that what I'm?
Do 2 through 6.
Yeah, I'm requesting that we approve 2 through 6 under the academic committee report.
So moved.
Jen, quick question.
Yeah.
Is this included in the current budget?
Yeah, it's in the curriculum budget. It's already, yes.
Dr. Nemeth did come under budget on her curriculum cycle this year.
Which is impressive.
VLA especially.
That's a good question.
A second.
She seconded.
Anybody have any questions on it? Okay.
Yeah, there was a lot of information. It was a great meeting. Again, thank you to everyone who worked hard on this. It is a big task. And our next meeting will be in the fall sometime.
All right, well, then we will call for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Report. Do you have anything else?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's it.
Well, that's fine. I know. Activities committee, I imagine no report. We didn't have a meeting, did we? Or do you have
No, we
something?
did not have a meeting. Nothing to report.
All right. Okay, let's go into general action items and gonna be a little slower on this so you can see what I'd like, I think we can go from 12A through F.
I have a question on a couple.
Okay, and before we go there, why don't we take it by one at a time? And then when you get to those, we can. All right, do we have a motion for approval of 12A? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Approval of 12B. Moved, second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Okay. See, approval of the contract with the IU 13. Do you have a motion for that?
This is one I had a question on.
Okay.
What is this?
I can speak to that.
Oh, okay.
So this is, we have, do you remember at the academic committee, I said that Tyler had gone to a training? I don't know if you recall that, but
Yes.
it was on high impact and federal strategies. And so that's going to be our focus for the upcoming years, really focusing on those high impact strategies. So for an option, the IU is actually coming here to lead a Mannheim Central focused session, and we're doing 2 of those. It would be like a June and July, where they would kind of tailor it for us, and run 2 full sessions. So that's what that
is. Is it optional for staff or is it?
It is an optional one.
Okay.
So like we do with, in community learners, if we don't get the interest, then we just say we can't do it. If we have a number under like, 10 people, 6 people, whatever it might be.
Okay.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Or did we do that twice? No.
We didn't do that one at all.
Okay, now, do you have another one?
My only other question is the next one.
Okay, D.
And it's actually not a question, but is this, when I was reading through this, is this kind of like that understanding that if we have a special education student who needs to go to another school, that placement, that's kind of like that understanding of.
This is an agreement between ETAM, Ronco, and Mannheim that allows us to have their students come and fill our programs. So we have tuition rate for those students and vice versa. It is cheaper than going to the IU. So if we can service within those 2 districts, and us.
Is there opportunity to expand upon that to other districts?
Yeah, so I reached out to a school district in Lancaster, for example.
Okay.
I heard that they had some need. So I'm waiting to hear back from them, but that is something that we can continue to expand.
This is like off top of your head, but do you know how many students are utilizing this agreement?
So right now we have 3 students who come to us from another school district. We don't have anybody else that's at a different placement.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion for?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, let's go 12E through G. Motion for E through G. Second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We go, 12, yeah, I'm just reading it. 12H through K. H through K, motion. So moved. Second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Okay. M. We have L. Oh, didn't do L, okay. Then we need to go, 12L.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now we need to, I think, look at M separately. Oh, to need a motion to what percentage we're gonna start at? 275?
What's the amount?
Well, the amount stays the same for the expense. So I am going to put in and make the change, and here's what. It's approved to adopt and advertise the proposal final budget of the school district for 2025-2026 fiscal year as presented on Form PDE 2028 to include a millage increase of 2.75% with expenses in the amount of $74,111,465. Motion for that. There's the second. Do we have a second? Oh, we have a second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 275. And we can readjust that in, you know, the approval of 12 N. We go N through S.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Take time. It's. No questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And within in that we just approved, was Kelly Martin, the approval of her returning to Mannheim. That's board secretary. That's board secretary. And
We already approved her.
we approved her last time, I'm sorry. We're actually got a young lady in here and kick the old man out. No, we're not. We'll miss you very much. All right. We went all the way to Z, did we not?
We're at C right now.
What we. All right, approval of 12T. Approval of the recommendation of the potential graduates for the 24-25 school year. Second. All in favor? Good, and I think we can go 12U through D.
Second.
Okay. All favor? Aye. Opposed? We are, take a look again at the new rule policies that are put in. All right, board representative report. Mr. Beatty, are you?
Yes, our last meeting was on the 14th of this month. I missed the meeting. My daughter got married this weekend, so I didn't attend that night. But our next meeting, and nothing.
Let's see, do we have, is that in the minutes that you can miss a meeting to, because your daughter's getting married? There were beautiful pictures and merchandise too, by the way.
Right.
All right, here's one we can, with three, CTC, Mr. Gerhart.
We have some pictures. We're down at Will Street. These are the last three CTE students that we have. So, see who comes up there. Carter Brandt. He's a senior and he's in down at Will Street. He's in the diesel equipment technology. And these guys, they get in there, but sometimes they don't always do what they're doing, but he likes to work. And so he's not going to do a co-op. He's actually going to work at his dad's business. And he does basements. He's out of Manheim here. They do basements where everybody's been in a wet basement, but his dad and he's getting into it where they cut in the concrete and bring it down, put the sump pumps in. That's what he's doing. So he really likes doing that. So he's going to keep doing that. And he's working, it's called the Greg Shelley Company. Anybody heard that?
Yeah.
Sure. Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's where that's his dad and that's where he's going. And what he likes doing, so he's, I don't know what the equipment technology had to do with it, but he likes doing, he's learning. That's what counts. He likes fishing and he plays baseball. Right now, until school's out, he's working at the Mad Chef in East Pete. And I can't believe it. They were making $18 an hour just starting there. So, and he likes going to the Outer Banks in Michigan. They go there every year in July. And that's Carter. Okay, and this is Brody. He's in the diesel equipment. He's a senior also. He's in the diesel equipment technology. And after school, they're here again. He's working in diesel equipment, but he likes the building end. He's right now after school working for Raffner's down in Lidditz. Anybody hear that? It's a building company. He's working down there, and he works down there after school. But he also co-ops. He's trying to get in and co-op with B.R. Kreider. So they really get a long list of guys in there from CTC. So he's waiting. So he's anxious. He's ready to go to work, and he likes dirt biking, and he likes going to his cabin in Lycoming County, deer and turkey, and he plays baseball for Manheim Central third base. So that's Brody. Here's the one that keeps escaping me after 3 times. It's Haley Peterson. And I never did that's the only one I didn't get to interview. I tried. So I did get a little bio on her. And Haley's in animal science at Willow Street. She was student of the month at Manheim Lions Club. That was back in January. I remember that. And Haley's pleasure to have in the class and has a positive attitude. Haley was on the first marketing period honor roll. She's in class and is a team player. Haley's serving at the chairperson of our Willow Street FFA Week Committee. She also helping to coordinate dress down days. I guess that's nice. And a teacher luncheon, as well as car and truck show for February. So that's an old one, but we finally got her. So, and that winds up all the CTC students from Manheim Central. We'll see what's next month.
Thank you. ESBA legislative, Ms. Skinner.
Claire. Right now, the legislation is in session, so there's a bunch of things floating around. I'll just try to give you a quick synopsis of some of them. I don't know that they're too much closer on a budget, so we don't really have a lot to talk about there. Some of the things that they are talking about are, one is called, it's Senate Bill 10, and it's to create a Pennsylvania Award for Student Success Scholarship Program. So basically, it's a program that would make parents with school-age children who reside in the attendance area of districts at the bottom 15% of performance, it would make them eligible to receive a scholarship for alternate education expenses outside their local public school. In essence, this would it would be creating a type of voucher program. So that's what that's about. Another one is Senate Bill 127. It's a Holocaust education. It's just talking about that schools will be required to give instruction on the Holocaust, genocide, and human rights violations. And so that would be part of the curriculum. Another one is FAFSA, Universal FAFSA completion, which is Senate Bill 310. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this one, but anyways, basically it would be a graduation requirement for kids to complete the FAFSA or to complete an opt-out form. So yeah, that one was put forward by Scott Martin. So anyways, and then there's one regarding weapons at school campuses. So that would require schools to notify all parents and educators when a student, parent, educator, or anyone else is found in possession of a weapon on the school grounds. Another one is literacy achievement for Pennsylvania students. It just says that schools will be required to adopt evidence-based reading instruction curriculum and approve professional development training programs. Another is what I found interesting also. It would require instruction on cursive handwriting. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. So that's a bill requiring that. Another one would be automated external defibrillators, requiring that they are in the school buildings and also accessible for any interscholastic events, and that people would need to be trained on that, how to use them appropriately. There's an increasing efficiency and transparency in school transportation bill that specifically talks about streamlining administrative requirements and collecting necessary data as it applies to modernizing our student transportation laws. Yeah. And then there's also a House bill that they're looking at that would make it possible for education support professionals to receive unemployment compensation during summer months. So that one was interesting also. Another one would be eliminating BMI screening in schools, which interesting. Prevailing wage, they're also talking about making changes to splitting different rates and also adding some things into that as far as HVAC, duct cleaning, and custom offsite fabrication. So, but the one that we are probably most interested in is one that is called House Bill 1372, and that addresses all of our longstanding concerns regarding accountability and financial inefficiencies that are tied specifically to cyber charter operations. So yeah, they're looking at that, trying to give more transparency, financial transparency when it comes to cyber schools, and also, yeah, just hold them, try to bring in alignment their funding so that it's more closely aligned with our actual costs within online education and, yeah, the different online educations. The chief advocate from PSBA was there testifying before the House Education Committee, just talking about how cyber charter schools and the costs there and how they're affecting the school budgets. So they're advocating for us. And we also had an advocacy day that we attended, and Mrs. Walker is going to speak of that a little bit of what we did there at the end of the meeting. Or if you want to know.
Or not, whatever.
Okay.
No, I was just gonna share, because we forgot to mention that, but Mr. Bushy, Ms. Gingrich, Mr. Dr. Axe, and myself went up to Capitol, talk on behalf of our school district. And it was just a great opportunity to talk to Mindy Fee about our concerns with, I hate to use the word like accountability, but really what we're trying to do is Dr. Axe always likes to say, like, we have an amazing school district and we want to like promote our school district and we want to brag about our school district and we want all of our students to come back to our school district. So really, we were just talking about the points of like the increased cost to the district when students go to cyber schools. What else do we talk about with Mindy Fee?
The mandates and
the mandates.
Special ed funding, transportation.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And we shared some things that we do to give back to the community with the reunions and so forth. And she actually, after that, did reach out to me to visit this month to see the high school.
Yeah, I thought it was a good meeting. I thought Mindy was very open to hearing our points of view, and I felt like, yeah, it was very constructive.
I'd like to say thank you to you guys for setting that up. It was good. I felt it was good. It was cool going up there, seeing a lot of people. advocating probably for the same thing. I definitely felt like we were heard.
Yeah, it was
We definitely showed Mindy some things that she didn't understand or see before. But she's definitely here to help us here in Manheim, and hopefully they can get something good passed.
Yeah,
I thought the three of you did an exceptional job just presenting and advocating for Manheim Central and public schools. So I was appreciative. We braved the weather and and everything else. So it was a very valuable trip.
Yeah, it was good to hear that, it's a bipartisan issue, right? It's not just, talking to Mindy Fee about certain things. It's an issue about public schools and our students, and we need to keep that in mind and what's best for our students. And we want them here, and we have a lot of great things. We're doing a lot with increasing facilities and curriculum updates, and just want everyone to make the best choice that they can make for themselves.
Come join us.
Come join us.
And then she shared with us, like, most of her constituents are older people on a fixed income, and our decisions on with taxes and everything on the school board mean a lot to them. And so we went over all that with them and tried to explain everything that Brian explained, where we've been on the bottom, we've done zeros, we're in the bottom four. So, and I think she's gonna bring that back to her constituents, and maybe
Yeah, she requested the handout that we.
they'll learn as we did.
Yeah.
Only positive things came out of it.
Great.
I apologize I couldn't make it. I had to
Yes.
work.
Right.
You have the handout? You have a copy?
I think he sent it. It looks like this. It has like a chart with the numbers on it.
I attached it to the last update.
Yeah. And also, can we share this too, maybe, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing we don't talk about publicly.
Yeah, I know. I just think that when Mindy looked and saw the numbers,
She was like, oh my Lord. Yeah, she was.
which it's, never mind. Yeah.
Anybody else there besides Mindy who you got to talk to, or just her?
Well, I met with Senator Malone with a number of superintendents the week before.
Okay.
And his chief of staff was available, but he wasn't. So since I had met with him and shared all this the week before, we decided we didn't need to stay for that, because it was his chief of staff.
You're right, everybody's on it, right? All of
Yeah,
it.
it's,
Everybody's aware of it.
yes, very aware.
Where it's a problem.
Good job, guys. That's good. Thank you.
I would go to the weather and having to figure out how to get up the steps at the
It
Capitol.
wouldn't have been
I
easy.
stayed home.
It would have not been easy, yeah.
But go ahead. Barbie.
That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Lancaster County Academy. Our year is going very well. Our second location is going to be back at Park City. Make a lot of concessions in pricing, and there's a nice part that we have that we can take out walls and stuff like that. So that's gonna be our second location. We have graduation Saturday, the 31st at Crossroads in Mount Joy. We will not have anybody graduating. Our kids graduated in the December. That's all I have.
I mean, Mike, thank you for everything you do for the academy. And thank you for your new award that you're doing. So thank you for all you've done. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
And the kids in Manheim and everybody at the academy, thanks you.
Thank you. It's a long time getting to our point with who had the next nickel, who had the next dime to spend, but we're gonna be helping an awful lot of kids. And then my report, everyone doing the enrollment report. Upcoming school board meeting will be June 23rd, 6 o'clock. And that's one that we probably need to know if anybody's not going to be there for that, because we are going to have to sign the budget. If we don't have a quorum, we'll Let's figure something else out.
Yeah.
All right, and then the July 28th will be the regular school board meeting, and that is now canceled. Board comments. I have the first one, I think you'll. My apologies to all of you. You don't know why, I apologize for that. Does anybody else have any comment for the board?
I think everybody's doing good.
Citing 2 weeks, I think there's action every night.
Oh, sometimes 2 and 3 times.
It's gonna be a fun 2 weeks.
Adjourned.